Everyone wants to be their best self, but we struggle to make that a reality, and we're no different. But today we're sharing how we've used habits to achieve our goals, even when life said screw you.
How many habits have you genuinely wanted, but still failed to stick to?
Too many. I've tried all sorts of things. I've tried to stick to lots of things. I've always had lots of ideas. The things that come to mind are I've always thought about learning a second language, and I've tried multiple different languages for different reasons. Normally because I'm a woman, if I'm honest. And then the relationships ended, and I go, well, I don't really need that language anymore. So that was stupid, wasn't it? Yeah. So I've tried to stick to a lot and failed. Maybe tried to do too many at once, or not the right thing.
So it wasn't really effort, it was more like misalignment.
Yeah. Or what I was trying to do it for had gone away. Like I was trying to learn a second language because the person I was dating, then I wasn't dating that person, so I didn't need that language.
Mm-hmm.
Or I was trying to build a habit, but that wasn't really aligned to the goals that I had.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I was trying to build a health habit, but I didn't really have a health goal. I had a money goal or
Mm-hmm.
a sleep goal. So it's the goal wasn't aligned to the habit I was trying to build. I think that's been a big failure for me, and something that I've changed recently actually is trying to build habits that actually align to the goals that I have.
Mm-hmm.
And if it doesn't align, then it's not something that's worth building for me.
So you sort of create this ecosystem where the habit is like conducive to your goal. And so
Yeah.
you sort of go, okay, well, I'm motivated for this goal. And so this habit sort of just creates this ecosystem. Is that what you
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. So I'm looking at my goals here. So the goal I have at the moment for the podcast, at least,
Mm.
is by the end of the year, get to 5,000 subscribers. So I then have a big goal, and I each month I try and break that down to what's my goal going to be for this month. If you've been enjoying the episode or our previous episodes, it'd be great if you could subscribe. I've got a goal of 100 subscribers this month. I'd love you to help. Cheers. Back to it. So one of my habits is working on the podcast each day.
Mm.
It's 10 minutes of generating ideas each day.
Mm.
And I just have a little tracker. It's in a book. And I just tick it. Did I do that today? Yes. So, if I'm going to try and build the podcast, I want habits that help me build the podcast.
Mm.
I don't need a habit that's like drink 2 liters of water every day. It's not
Probably
might not
should
be
be
a bad
doing that
thing.
anyway.
I mean,
But,
yeah, I probably
yeah.
should be doing that, but
Yeah.
it's not something that's going to help me get after the goal.
Yeah.
So I'm probably not going to follow through on it.
Yeah.
It might be a habit I can build at another time,
Mm.
but not right now.
Yeah.
So have you had a similar experience where you've had habits and they've failed on you?
Yeah, I think so. Like, I remember I created like this vision board of all the things that I wanted to work on that year. And for some reason, I started creating this habit of learning Mandarin. And I wanted to learn it because I would develop a I thought I'd develop a better relationship with like my wife's family and that sort of thing who speaks Mandarin at home.
So you did it for a woman as well?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100% I did it for women. I love that's like how our brains
The
work
things you
as
do for
males.
love.
Yeah, the things you do for
They
love,
speak another
exactly.
language. We should learn that language.
100%.
Yeah.
Well, you want to be able to talk about other people, like when you're at the
Yeah.
supermarket or like when
Yeah,
you
yeah,
see
yeah.
something, you want to be able
Oh
to
yeah, it's not for like
see
it's not for
secret
like
conversation.
yeah, you say, oh, it's so I can be better ingrained with the family and really help that community. No, you just want to bitch about people behind the back without them knowing it. It's all it is.
Yeah, pretty much. Absolutely.
That was broken, wasn't it?
Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, it's okay.
Your notes are lying. It's not about the deep emotional
It's
lie.
so true though. Like it's such bullshit.
You just want to turn around and went, what the hell is that person wearing?
Yeah,
Without that
exactly.
person knowing that you're saying that.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's so true. It's so true. And I think like how it broke away was it either got difficult, or when I'd do my reflection at the end of the week, I'd be like, I didn't spend any time working on it. Like, it was clearly not important to me, about talking about other people, of course. It was clearly not important to me, so I sort of didn't prioritize the time.
I wonder if language is a common one. People want to learn other
Mm,
languages and aren't really settled on the why of it,
yeah.
or they can't tangibly tie it to something. I wanted to learn Japanese, and I tried this probably a year ago or 18 months ago,
Mm,
and I downloaded Duolingo, and I was building my streak, and I was getting every day. I even shared it on LinkedIn when I hit like I think it was like 100-day streak or whatever, and I was super proud of it.
yeah.
And then I realized, hang on, I don't have the money to go to Japan. I've got no plans to go to Japan. Just because I want to go to Japan doesn't
Mm,
mean I'm actually going to be going in the near future.
yeah.
And then as soon as something came along that it was, made it hard to log on for the 5 minutes and do a lesson, that was it. It was like, okay, I've lost the streak. I'm not going
Mm,
to Japan. What's the point even bothering? I don't know
mm,
anyone around me who speaks Japanese, so I can't even, keep it going with a friend or a partner or something. I think that loss of why and not having someone along with you on the journey
mm.
can have a negative impact, or certainly make it a lot harder to
Harder.
keep
Yeah.
going with some of these things. Like, it's much easier to go to the gym every day or on the days you're meant to go if you know you're meeting a friend there,
Yeah.
because you're going to turn up because you've agreed you're going to turn up. So much easier to not turn up when it's just you.
I think that's true. Like, when I had a personal trainer, seeing him on a Monday, Wednesday, and Friday meant that Tuesday and Thursday in between was like a non-negotiable, because I'd be seeing him the next day and it'd kind of be like, well, I need to report in per se and have this
Yeah.
accountability. And even now that I don't have a personal trainer, but my wife does, she's trying to hit her goals in that regard. But it means that when I want to go to the gym, or and sort of feeling I'm not sure about it, that feeling in the morning that you get when you wake up at 5:30, that's that feeling. She's like, no, I've got to go, because I got to go meet Tyrell. Like, and so then I'm like, oh, okay, I might as well just come along as well. So then off I go, right? That
And I
friction
think,
is gone.
yeah, and I think habits can just quietly disappear, can't they?
Mm,
When you just stop, because there's nobody. If there is nobody chasing you up, no one was chasing me up to see if I continued learning Japanese.
mm,
So when it got too hard, I just stopped, and my life didn't change. It
mm,
just quietly disappeared. There's no like big bang to say, oh, this habit's failed.
yeah.
It just means you might not hit that goal you were trying to get after.
Mm, that's true. Conversely, what's a habit that's actually stuck for you?
Yeah, there's a couple that come to mind with that actually, and one of them actually then failed, but for the reasons we talked about before. So I
Mm,
was working away in America, and I just bought a Garmin watch, and I was like, right, okay, I'm going to do my 10,000 steps a day. Definitely going to
mm,
get that in. And I had the new piece of tech, so it was kind of exciting to see the numbers go up and see the streak and everything else, kind of gamify it a little bit. But one of the biggest things that made it easy was I was working away from home. I had no sort of family commitments.
mm,
We had an evening meal with the sort of the guys I was working with, and that was it. I was free for the evening. Therefore, it was really easy to just walk around the outside of the hotel. And conversely to that, or additionally to that, even the people I was working away with, they wanted to be in the gym at lunchtime.
mm,
So I've never really been big on the gym. I don't know what it is. I've just never really got into it.
mm,
But because they were in the gym every afternoon,
mm,
I was kind of on my own, or I went to the gym.
yeah.
So it made it really easy to go to the gym. So I was already getting my steps in at the gym. I was really exercising, and if I had more steps to do, it was really easy to do in the evening because there was nothing else to get in my way. When I changed my environment and I came home, that kind of all went away. I
Mm,
didn't have that driver to go to the gym in the afternoon, and I came back to a heavily pregnant wife who didn't really want to go out for walks on an evening for long distances, as you can might imagine. I've seen this. I think it might have been in the Atomic Habits book.
Mm,
which I listened to whilst I was away, and they talked about the change of environment. I think with soldiers coming back from Vietnam,
mm,
and that was to do with drugs, I think, and they changed their environment, and they weren't still addicted to drugs. They just the environment had changed. It wasn't there. They didn't do it anymore.
mm.
So I think the environment that you set up for yourself is super important to making it work. And then if you change your environment, it can make it all of a sudden disappear.
I think the thing that I like about what James Clear talks about in the book Atomic Habits
Mm.
is the how do you break it down into the smallest thing? And so you're talking about the environment, and then if you take that even a step further, so when you wake up, or like in the afternoon when you're going to go for that workout, for example, do you have your workout gear ready? And like you hear heaps of people talking about this, where but those that wake up in the morning and work out, they have their gear ready, or like when I think I'm pretty sure I saw this crazy story of like a lady going to sleep in her workout gear. That way, when she woke up, she had no choice because she was already in
Yeah,
her gear, right? Those small micro things that, in my mind, remove the friction. If you can remove the friction from doing your getting closer to your goal and meeting your habits, then it's a lot easier. But at the same time, I completely understand that like priorities change. Like when you went home, like there's other things that need to be balanced.
so the other piece I wanted to talk about was I'd always had an issue. I know the guidance is brush your teeth twice a day, but from a very young age, I clearly remember my dentist saying it's better to brush properly once a day than to brush twice a day badly. But
Mm,
what I took away from that was brush your teeth once a day.
mm,
So that was so ingrained into brush your teeth once a day. That's what I did. And again, whilst in America, because I listened to the Atomic Habits, which I don't think we can talk about habits without bringing his book up because, yeah, I think the two, that come side by side. But
mm,
I think he talked about building it into your routine. And
yeah,
when I did that, I built that into my evening routine. Even when I went home and I changed my environment a few months later, that habit stayed with me because I'd built it into my routine. So I think there's still ways to get around it, even when you do shift environment, which might be important for people like us as consultants, but or other people who work away from home, so they're a bit all over the place. Your environment changes. How do you make sure your habit doesn't?
yeah,
So I think building it into a routine, or like you say, doing something that's still your physical environment might have changed, but the way that you set everything up doesn't.
yeah,
You always put your trainers by the side of the bed.
mm,
So even though the bed's changed, your trainers are still there. You can still go for the run.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think traveling for work, I've that's definitely something that I've found hard in the sense that I don't have the accountability there as much. But what's helped is the having my shoes ready, having the workout gear ready in the morning. It's already set out, and basically when I wake up, I'm ready to go. I think sticking to my habits though has what's been really effective for me is when I decided that I was going to walk 10,000 steps a day. I actually would walk 12. Like I would try to hit 12 every day. And then on some days when I was like, oh, I'm just like not really feeling it in the morning, let's say. And then by the evening, I'll be at 2,000 steps and I've got 10 to go. Well, actually, it's only eight because the real goal is only to get to 10, right?
Yeah,
And then over time, I started realizing actually I was always getting to 12. So I moved it up to 15, as in from 10 to 15, not 12 to 15. And now my target is like getting around 20 or trying to get to 20. And I always get somewhere between 15 and 20, but I'm always getting 15. And I think that's also been quite helpful to like buffer my goal a bit in order to like account for bad days, because we all have days where
yeah,
we don't really want to do the thing, because it could be that like when I'm on a flight to go somewhere, or I'm on a train up to Newcastle or back to London or whatever it is, right? Like there are times where we can't do the thing that we want to do, but how do you set it up in such a way where you account for it?
Do you think that they're different? Do you think that the goal is the 15,000 steps and you have habits within that to help you get there?
It's interesting because there probably, if I break it down, there is definitely habits that contribute. So taking the stairs down to reception, for example, like I'm on the fourth floor of this hotel, taking the steps down helps, I'm sure, in the most minute way. But at the same time, taking the elevator at the mall and just walking up the elevator instead of like um, it's not, you can't walk up an elevator. It's an escalator.
I mean, if you're Tom Cruise in like a Mission Impossible, then
Then possibly,
maybe,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, possibly. No, so escalator. You're walking up the escalator, and you get those like little bit extra, or like when you're in the office and you're gonna go get a coffee, instead of taking the shortest route, you walk the longest route to the coffee machine, right? It's really small things, but like I got to the office this morning and it was 8,000 steps. By the time I left, it was 11, and I didn't take a lunch. I didn't go out for lunch. I stayed in the office, but I did 3,000 steps somehow. And meeting rooms and the lunchroom, like it's not a big office floor. You can imagine like how much it adds up. Or like when I want to go talk to someone, instead of sending them a message, I'll walk over to their desk. It's those small things that really add up. And I think maybe those are the habits, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So the goal is 15 or 20,000 steps, but the getting there is those small things that contribute.
I think it's kind of interesting. These things can be quite nested, can't they? Because if you think about it, is the 15,000 steps a goal on its own, or is that part of a wider goal about your health, for instance?
And it is, right? And so, and nested is a good way to think about it. And it sort of lends to the ecosystem that I talked about before. It's like that habit is then building towards another habit, which is building towards another habit, which is all leading to the same goal that you may have set for yourself. So you talked about the podcast. Like for the steps, for example, for me, it's how do I regulate my weight? How do I make sure I don't get diabetes when I turn in my early 40s? And it's these small things that contribute towards your lifestyle and sort of who we are. If you can imagine a time when like a habit didn't stick, what lie do you think you were telling yourself, or like what limiting belief do you think you had?
For me, I think it came down to either I don't have the discipline, or I'm not motivated, or I'm lazy.
Mm,
Something I haven't talked about as something I've tried to do in the past is I've struggled with getting up on a morning, which is never something I used to struggle with when I was younger because I was always used to it. Like I had a paper round and stuff like that, so I was always used to getting up early. And then I had kids, right?
mm,
And they sapped a lot of my energy. They keep me awake at night. And then I see the mornings and my alarm might go off at 6. And I'm going, well, I don't really need to get up at 6, especially
mm.
with working from home. And I'm like, well, I just need to be at my desk for 9.
Yeah.
And as long as for me, as long as I've like had a shower and I've got dressed and I'm at my desk for 9, I'm okay. So when my alarm goes off at 6 and I go, why am I getting up at 6?
Yeah. I'm just gonna snooze for a while.
And then I tell myself, oh, you don't really have the motivation, you're lazy, you don't have discipline.
Mm,
And I think again it comes back to, why was I trying to get up at 6? Because I didn't have a reason to get up at 6. I just thought, or I'd heard someone on the internet saying, get up at 6, you'll get loads done, you'll be super productive, and you'll be a millionaire by 30. Right? And none
yeah.
of those things happened.
Yeah, of course.
So I think I told myself those things, even though I knew they probably weren't true. That's
Mm.
probably still how I felt. And I don't know whether you've been through a similar thing to that, whether it's common or whether it's just me. I don't know.
No, I think it is quite common. Like, I definitely resonate with the motivation, and like, I think motivation wanes quite quickly. I think for a lot of people, and including me, I think the the thing that helps though is starting. So, like, for example, I know we've talked about it in other episodes, but once you start, and then let's say tomorrow you're like, you know what, I'm just going to sleep in, and you end up sleeping in, right? Or in the morning you make that decision because it's really hard to wake up, or you've been up for the kids during the night, or something to that effect. The key is to the next day to go, no, I'm starting again. Today's day one again, and you start again. I think that's what's been key for me, but is the hardest thing. It's such a hard thing to do
It gets
because it's
harder to start again if
yeah,
you miss more than a day, though.
that's so true.
Like you miss one day, and you're okay. I missed one day. Whatever. I'm gonna get back on. I haven't
Yeah.
lost anything. Like I haven't got
Mm,
fat because I missed one day at the gym. In the
yeah.
same way that I haven't got skinny because I went to the gym for a day.
Mm,
But you miss 2 days, you miss 3 days, you miss four
mm,
days, and all of a sudden you're going, oh, what's the point? What's the point of going
yeah.
back? I've already missed 4 days. I might as well just give up and get Chinese.
And that's when I get a Chinese classic. And I feel though that is that when the goal is not big enough. It's not the habit that's the problem. It's the reason or the it's the reason for it. So
You've got to be
example,
grounded in the reason, haven't you?
yeah, because I look at it and I go like at the moment I can't go to the gym because of my shoulder, but that doesn't mean that hasn't stopped me from doing my steps or okay, I'm not eating very healthy, but um, but you know what I
If
mean,
we
right?
if we
Like,
ignore that bit,
yeah, if we ignore that bit, I feel like I'm traveling for work a lot right now, so I have all my meals paid for. It's great. But at the same time, like, I still get a Huel in a day. I still get my multivitamins in. I still trying to get my steps in. I'm still trying to make sure that where possible, I am really looking at how do I optimize as much as I can outside of the gym, right? Optimize might be the wrong word because it's not completely optimal, but you know what I mean. Like we're trying to, it's the little things, and it's because I've got that bigger goal. Like I've always told myself. Once upon a time, my uncle said to me, like, it's just inevitable that you'll get diabetes. And I thought at that moment, I'll never, ever get diabetes. I will do whatever I can to make sure I don't. And so when my numbers were getting closer to being pre-diabetic, I started fasting because I was like, I'm not going to do it until my numbers dropped all the way like to the other end of the scale. Not bad, but like healthy. And I just have that in my mind every time. Like I may not wake up and go to the gym or do my steps or whatever. I'm reminded of that at some point in the day. I'm reminded of that, and I go, "Oh yeah." And I a little bit beat myself up, like you do, like you talked about. Absolutely. So I don't. I think that's pretty. I think that's a very common thing to do in terms of self-talk and that sort of thing. But I think the next day, I'll be back.
you mentioned your uncle there. What might have even been a passing comment by them has stuck with you and changed how you do things for years to come. In the same way that that dentist said something to me and it changed. Like it took a lot for me to overcome, which sounds stupid. Like it's just brushing your teeth in an evening, but like building that took a surprising amount of effort to overcome because of something I was told when I was younger,
Yeah,
and
and
it stuck with me.
exactly.
And I wonder whether
Yeah.
there's anybody listening who maybe they're in that situation where you're going, well, I've always, I've told them I was going to be fat because my parents are fat, or
Mm,
you've always got to eat cake after tea because that's what you do,
mm,
right? And I think these things can really stick with you and be really difficult to overcome, but then they're not impossible, but it's not easy.
no, no, I don't think it's easy.
And I think accepting the fact that it's not easy and therefore not beating yourself up if you have an off day,
Mm.
but not letting yourself have multiple days off.
And somehow remembering that actually there's something bigger, right?
Yeah.
That you're working toward.
When do you think your habits have stopped becoming effort? You've stopped having to think about them.
Probably when the resistance disappears, I probably won't even notice when it's not a habit, when I'm trying to form a habit anymore. It just becomes natural to do. And like, while can like other priorities will come. So for example, the podcast is a really good example. Like we're spending time in our evening doing this, but Monday night I was working till like 10 p.m.
Not all heroes wear capes.
and I had no time to do anything like towards the podcast or anything personal. And I think that's okay because competing priorities exist. But my non-negotiable with myself is I still hit my steps that day. I got 18,000 steps that day. That's my non-negotiable because health and well-being is number one. But I do feel like the habits start to feel more natural than aspirational. They're not something that I'm striving toward. It's more just become who I am. And it's like my identity has shifted. And so a good example would be in, like, I remember when I first joined the gym, and I used to go to the gym at uni a little here and there with my best mate. But when I properly joined the gym in 2010, also because of a girl, I broke up with my girlfriend. This is such a common theme.
Yeah, it really is, isn't it?
Yeah. That was easy. Like I had broken up with my girlfriend. I'm like, cool, I'm gonna start working out and even though we got back together about 4 weeks later or 3 or 4 weeks later.
Because you're now like super buff.
Because super buff, like that's all it took. It's the arms. Once I had the arms, then away I went where we went. But anyway, the habit had formed, right? And so I was still going to the gym, and I've been going to the gym for what, 16 years. Like it's just become who I am. I don't know, it's weird.
I think it is because you identify, like if somebody asked you, you would probably identify as I'm someone who goes to the gym.
Yeah.
I'm someone who works out.
Yeah, that's true.
And once it becomes that point, and sometimes I think you have to almost lie to yourself from the start. And that will help you make that habit part of your identity.
Yeah.
I am someone who walks 10,000 steps a day. I'm someone who makes sure that I get outside every day. I am someone who calls my friends once a week. So the habit isn't something that you tick off to say, oh, yeah, I called a friend this week because I got a goal of getting back in touch with my friends or building relationships. It's just, this is who I am. So it doesn't, the resistance falls away a bit, I think, because that's who I am. So if I don't do that, it feels wrong, which almost makes the habit easier to do because you're not fighting with yourself. You're fighting alongside yourself. If that really makes sense.
I think so. Yeah, it does. Yeah. You're fighting with another version of you, right? It's basically going, future Ash is going to be this person. If the current me doesn't do anything about that, like toward that, I'm never going to become that person. But one thing that I take away from my wife's goals and habits for this year is, one, they're all symbiotic, like we talked about before, but they're all how she views her perfect life. Like she sat down and goes, if I had the perfect day, what would my perfect day look like?
Actually, I just wanted to ask, what's your perfect Sunday?
And she's built her habits or the things that she wants to achieve into that image. So reading, making sure that she goes to the gym and eats proper food and like looks after her health and that sort of thing. She works on something she's passionate about. Like there's so many things that she's done in order to not visualize or lie to herself in the same way that you're explaining it, but more go, what does my potential look like? What am I able to become? And then, as you say, you're sort of robbing yourself if you don't do those things, because those are the things you want to do. And then the distractions become Instagram and shorts and reels and what have you. But watch our shorts and now, watch ours. But aside from ours, all the other distractions.
Yeah, because we're not distraction. We're here to help. So
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
We're part of the solution.
We're definitely part of the solution. So wrapping that all up, I think like when resistance disappears, everything else just seems to fall into place, and like it becomes a part of your identity. Thank you for watching today. I think we've covered a lot on habits in our series this month around our goal setting and the big changes that we make, and also the how you stick to your habits.